Hey, what's up, guys? This is David Chase Taylor of 911truther.org. Today is February 3rd, 2023. So, based on breaking news and events, it appears that CIA headquarters located beneath CERN at Lake Geneva in Switzerland is going to stage one of two events prior to the end of Super Bowl LIX on Sunday, February 9th, 2025 in the United States and Canada, and which would be February 10th in the rest of the world, minus, of course, South America. So the two main events that I've identified is the assassination of one Donald J. Trump and/or his wife Melania Trump, and a false flag 9/11 level Cbrn event, most likely in Europe, Israel, and/or the United States. And either one of these events is specifically designed to trigger what's called the continuity of government, COG, if you will, which is basically when the United States is headless, if you will, and this COG was executed in the aftermath of the Kennedy assassination as well as the 9/11 attacks, and that's precisely why the Black Hawk helicopter crash in Washington, D.C. was executing a continuity of government exercise, because this is going to happen in the United States by the end of the Super Bowl on Sunday, February 9th. So the first scenario regarding the Trump assassination, although he could be executed in a lone gunman related attack, or a terror attack, or some other form of assassination. It now appears that the CIA is going to execute him in a so-called arrest raid, which is going to be executed by the one or more members of the Mossad, the IDF, Ayman, ISA, or the Shin Bet, which is basically Israeli terrorists that have just landed in the United States yesterday on February 2nd. So if you haven't been paying attention, Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, just landed at Andrews Air Force Base in Washington, D.C. on February 2nd for his slated meetings with President Trump in Washington, D.C. on February 4th. And of course, with Netanyahu is his entourage of Israeli terrorists. And so this would be executed under the guise of a federal U.S. Government raid. So if you'll recall, back on August 8th of 2022, the CIA staged the FBI raid targeting Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in West Palm Beach, Florida, under the guise of securing classified documents. And this was, of course, designed to foreshadow and set the precedent for a second raid, which will predictably be fatal in nature. So just prior to the FBI raid, the CIA spawned what's called kleptocatcher, which are a collection of agents, and this was formed on March 2nd of 2022, 5 months before the FBI raid, and is a collection of agents, alleged agents from the FBI, IRS, Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Marshal Service, the United States Postal Service inspectors, as well as the USSS, which is a secret service. And so this is the political cover for the Israeli assassination of our head of state, our president. And so they will predictably claim that Donald J. Trump and/or his wife Melania Trump have committed crimes, which obviously they did not commit. And so, as I've detailed ad nauseum on my website and in videos, the CIA has attempted to frame Donald Trump for numerous crimes, including but not limited to links to Russia, being a foreign agent or asset of the Russian government, having links to Vladimir Putin, tax fraud, business-related crimes with Trump Org or his new cryptocurrency coins, as well as a horde of financial crimes, sexual crimes, and election crimes. So exactly what they will cite as a pretext for the impending raid, which was, as I mentioned, be fatal in nature, most likely after Trump allegedly kills himself or there's an accident, or he has a heart attack, or he suicides himself in prison after being tortured ad nauseum. So we don't know exactly what they will cite as the pretext for the raid, but it is in fact planned. And as of today, February 3rd, Netanyahu just stated that he has changed his plans, and he will now stay in the United States until the 8th, which is Saturday. So that's the day before the Super Bowl, because they're going to execute this plan prior. And so despite his meeting with Trump ending on the 4th of February, he's planning on staying 4 extra days, because they're going to stage a major Defcon level event in the United States. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, they're either going to knock out Trump and or stage a major 9/11 level terror event in the United States, Europe, or Israel. And of course, this will trigger a national emergency and will put the United States into a DEFCON level state. So this plane that landed with Netanyahu on board are a bunch of terrorists, as I mentioned. And aside from knocking out Trump, these are probably going to be the terrorists that are going to execute attacks in the United States. And if in fact the Mossad does in fact execute attacks in the United States or elsewhere, they will predictably be a biological attack, which is designed to spawn a second global biological pandemic, chemical attacks, dirty bomb attacks, nuclear attacks, radiological attacks, or weaponized contagion attacks, also designed to spawn a second global biological pandemic, including but not limited to anthrax, Ebola, ricin, and smallpox. And of course, these 9/11 level of terror attacks are designed to spawn a second global biological pandemic, as mentioned, and or trigger World War III. So obviously exactly what's planned is unknown. I've identified a number of plots in the last days, but something's going down in the United States, Europe, or Israel most likely, and it's going to be apocalyptic in nature, and it's going to change. It's going to be a watershed moment, and it's going to be absolutely horrible. As it stands right now, there's roughly 7 wars going on. We have the Russo-Ukrainian war in Russia and Ukraine. We have the Israeli-Hamas war in Israel, Syria, and Lebanon. We have the Israeli-Hezbollah war in the same area. We have the Syrian civil war in Syria, the Yemeni civil war in Yemen, and then we have a war, 2 wars going on in Africa, one in Sudan and one in Somalia. Just a couple days ago, Trump executed airstrikes against ISIS terrorists. So this could manifest itself in 9/11 style attacks, hijackings, bombings, any type of attacks. But if the most likely scenario is that the CIA knocks Trump off in some sort of a attack or assassination or arrest raid, and that they stage attacks in New York, Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Boston, in this area, because these are, in fact, where these Mossad, IDF, Ayman, ISA, and Shin Bet terrorists are actually located, because they landed at Andrews Air Force Base. So they're in what they call the National Capital Region. So we're looking at Washington, D.C., New York, Boston, Baltimore, and this area. So that's the most likely scenario. So for example, in the event that they are unable to stage an arrest raid targeting Trump, they may stage a terror attack and then kill him as cover, or assassinate him and stage the terror attack as cover. So there's obviously a million different scenarios which could be executed, but this is going to happen, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, prior to the end of the game on Sunday, February 9th of 2025. So obviously, if Trump is assassinated in any form or fashion, or the CIA stages any type of biological, chemical, dirty bomb, nuclear, radiological, or weaponized contagion related attack or terror event anywhere in the world during this time period. Obviously, it was not an accident, and of course they're going to blame Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, etc., but it is in fact planned by the CIA, whose headquarters are in Geneva, Switzerland, and so that is who is orchestrating these events that are planned. So obviously, if these said events come to fruition, I kindly ask that you download this video and share it with local, state, and federal law enforcement, military, and intelligence officials, as well as with local, national, and international media outlets. Peace.